What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Shane G. We are back once again. This is the Ethos Media Network, and we're bringing you a very special interview today. This is somebody that I've been watching for a long time. If you're familiar with our show OTI, Open to Interpretation, these are a lot of topics that we tackle a lot of the times, but it's three black men who are speaking on it. So, today I have a lady with us today, so, share some of her perspective. Now, it may not be the perspective that that you may think you're gonna get, but we're definitely gonna get into that. And I have a very special guest. I have Taylor. It's Tay Tay Baby in the building. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Hey, I'm good. Thanks for doing this. So let's get right into it. So where'd you grow up?
So I grew up in Los Angeles, California.
Okay. Was it two-parent household, siblings?
So I grew up with grandparents.
Okay.
Yeah. I grew up with grandparents, and I have 5 brothers and 2 sisters.
Okay. And they took everybody in?
Well, this is the thing. Some of them stayed with my mom. Some of them stayed with my grandma. But the 3 older ones stayed with my grandma, me, my 2 brothers, and then the rest of them stayed with my mom's.
Okay, so you were the youngest one in the household then?
Middle child.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm the middle child.
Got you. So that probably, I would assume, shaped a lot of your perspective then, would you say?
Yeah, definitely. Being raised by grandparents is a different ball game. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, I can only imagine. Okay, so do you consider yourself a men's rights activist?
I would say so. I'm more about mental health and things like that, but I got a mama bear mentality, so I'd be defending men a lot. So yeah, I would say so.
Okay. So one of the first things that I saw of yours that initially made me subscribe was we were going to use something that you said for a topic of conversation actually on our show. And you were saying that the whole men are trash and men are creeps for, anytime they approach you, they're disgusting and all of that stuff. That's why men stopped approaching. And that's why all y'all are single out here.
Oh, dang, I remember that video.
I was like, whoa, okay. So that made me instantly check out more of your stuff. So I guess, what's your opinion of like modern day feminism, and do you think there ever was a time when feminism, was needed?
I don't think it was ever needed. If it's going to be as extreme as it is now, I don't think it was ever needed. It's gone too far. The man-hating thing has gone too far. And if you look at the definition of feminism, it's supposed to be about equality. It's to me, it's misandrous. To me, it's misandry, like the way that women are. I think that at a time back in the day, it was a lot different when social media wasn't such a big, platform. People look at social media and see these women and they start acting like those type of women, and they start seeing certain things and thinking that all men are the same. And a lot of young women are growing up into this type of mindset, I guess. Because when I was younger, I wasn't on social media like that. So I feel like that's maybe why I have a different mindset. But I think it's gone way too far, man, honestly.
That's kind of what it feels like. It feels like a loud minority that speaks online is kind of shaping, how everybody else feels about stuff. Because a lot of it I don't necessarily hear in everyday conversation, but like it seems crazy online, but everybody's online. So it's like, how do you balance that, I guess? But
Exactly.
So you've been speaking about these issues, for some years now. What made you decide to, pursue this on YouTube and, doing this like full time and really getting your message out there?
Well, growing up, I was raised by grandparents. But again, like I said, the 3 oldest are my brothers. I was raised in a military family, and I was always around my brothers. So as you can see, I'm like very tomboyish. So I grew up kind of different than a lot of girls. I can't really connect to a lot of women. Not saying that I don't relate to some of the things they talk about and some of the issues they've gone through, but because men have molded my mindset, I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, I'm so logical, I'm the best. I'm not saying that. I'm not better than nobody. But I will say being grown in a male dominant household gives you a male perspective of things instead of a woman perspective. So once I got onto social media, I was on TikTok. And I was seeing the I hate men trend and all that, and kill all men and all this crazy stuff. And I'm like, what the hell is this? Because I've never thought this, I've never had this mindset. No matter what I've been through with men and women, I've never thought of like a hatred towards any gender. So I wanted to speak my mind on this. And then like once I started talking about relationships and this, I ran with it, man, because I'm just tired of hearing it. And I don't want men, especially men that, you come across in real life, to think we're all the same. Like, You got to understand these young men are growing up and they're watching these type of things. And then I see men in my daily life. I used to be a bartender in Vegas. You'll hear them talking and be like, oh, modern day women are this or women are like this. And it's like, dude, no, the women you are around are like that. And the women that you see on social media are like that. So I wanted to be a voice of reason so men can understand not all of us have the same mindset. Some of us were raised very different. So, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. You know, I remember one time I called myself like sticking up for women one time on Twitter. And, you know, because it was something like that. I think the quote that I saw was "men make me itch." I think that's what whoever the young lady was tweeted.
Oh, dang.
And so I was showing that to another one of my female friends, and I was like, you know, it's messed up that men have messed up this bad to where women hate us like this. And then instead of like engaging in the conversation, which I was essentially trying to take responsibility for all men, which we shouldn't have to do either, but you know, whatever, just trying to engage in the discourse, she starts basically using all these buzzwords and stuff like that. Like, why would you take my words without my consent and all of this? And I'm like, yo, you're using buzzwords to try to make people think something else. Like when you use words like consent when we're just having a conversation. And I was like, that was really kind of what slowly started to change my mind about certain things. And I was like, yo, like, is it me? Like, am I bugging, or are things really like different out here? So I really think it's important what you're doing, you know, just to, you know, have that other voice, you know, to show that, you know, women don't hate men necessarily. And it might be a small minority. Do you think, you know, a lot of women who are entering this space where they're, you know, sort of becoming, you know, men's rights activists or, you know, just fairness activists, I guess you could even say, because, you know, you happen to, I see a lot of your videos, you don't only, you know, talk to women, you talk to men too, you know, and you tell men where they need to step up also. So, you know, that's why I said, I feel like it's very nuanced and very fair the way you know, deliver it. So, but do you think the rise in, you know, people who make that type of content is like a direct result against feminism? Do you think it's a backlash, or do you think it's, you know, what's your opinion of that?
Okay, I have two opinions on this. So I think that it's great that women and certain people are coming up in this space and starting to do that. But I'm not trying to like step on any toes or even name drop. But I see a lot of women that do OF or selling their body and they're trying to do this men's advocate thing and they don't really, you can see right through it. So for me, I love when women come in this space because like I said, I'm tired of hearing the same narrative. Every guy you talk to was a piece of crap. Every guy you got with treated you bad. There's no way you came across all these awful people in life and never came across bad women. So like I said, as long as there are women in this space coming with true intention, genuine intent, that's all I care about. You know what I mean? I want the word to get out so that this can go away and we have more women on this bandwagon of like, not all men are the same. You know, I feel like it's a human thing. There's both men can be bad. Most women can be bad. It's not just a gender thing. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So that was interesting. Something that you just said about the OnlyFans thing.
Yep, I just had to say that. Yep, I'm so tired of seeing that. You can't sell your feet pics, say 20 for the front, 40 for the back. Man, I believe in you. What the hell are you talking about? That selling pornography and stuff is not, it's not helping the mind. If you know psychologically what it does to young men's mind, anxiety, more depression, unaliving thoughts, they don't understand how bad that stuff is. And feeding men that as you're trying to say, man, I care about you. Nah, you care about getting that money. Stop it.
Just unrealistic expectations of what, you know, certain things are supposed to be like, you know. So I can definitely understand that because I ran across a different clip of you saying something like that. You said OnlyFans is ruining women or something like that. So yeah. I mean that's interesting. So do you consider yourself as part of I guess red pill or the manosphere or, you know, anything like that? Like, do you accept that label?
Oh man, I'm gonna say this. So many people say that I'm red pill and all that because I think it's because I'm really harsh. I know I'm really harsh. I watch my videos sometimes. I'm like, dang girl, you gotta calm down. But I'm very blunt. The one thing I will say this, I think that there's some people in the red pill space, I'm not trying to name drop, but that overdo things sometimes. You know what I mean? And I don't think that everything is just all on men, all on women. Like I said before, or if I didn't say this before, I'm trying to become a therapist, man. So I can't be only on one side. There's two sides of every story. I want to say I'm part of red pill as long as it means, you know, standing up for what's right and believing what's right and, you know, standing up for men. But as long as it's not toxic and it's not doing it in a bad, malicious, intentful way, then yeah, I'll be red pill. But I'd rather be red pill than anything else, man. It's the truth.
And yeah, like I definitely think there's degrees to it. You know, there are some people who, you know, I think they try to paint a narrative. You know, there's certain people who will bring on only people of a certain type and then try to say that's how all of them are. You know, there's certain podcasts, you know, we're not name dropping, so you know that's fine. But there's certain podcasts where it's like, you know, you only bring on Instagram thotties and you try to portray that that's all women, and it's like that's not true. You're not bringing on any doctors, you're not bringing on any therapists, you're not bringing on any lawyers, you know what I mean, who are of course not going to behave that way, and they exist. So let's not.
I literally was just saying that. I was like, you know what they should do? Have a panel of women who have been wives for 10 plus years. Why don't they have a panel of women that don't hate men? Why don't you have like maybe my grandma or somebody on there? I know she's old and all that, but this is somebody that can give you a perspective that's been in love, that's had a good marriage. Hearing this negative stuff all the time for these young men and young women, you know how many people I talk to that marriage don't exist? Oh, men are this way, men are that way. And like, you can't even tell anybody anything because they just know everything in the world. And it's like, dude, how do you believe in me, but you don't believe there's other good women? Oh, yeah, you're right, Tay. Okay, then, see, you're not a bad person, so, you know, you can't do that. You can't believe everything on social media. And some people are doing it for views, man. There's some people are just doing it for views. You got to be careful.
Yeah, definitely. Because I mean, even just from experience, like, you know, I'm 36 years old, and the majority of my friends are either in long-term relationships or are married. And all of them are married to good women, and they've been with their women since, you know, we was in our late 20s and stuff like that. So obviously, even in a younger generation, I don't even think it's an age thing. You know, I don't think it's you know, because interestingly enough, there's some old black and white footage from just old interviews that, you know, have been leaking on YouTube or whatever, where people will walk up and basically ask about, you know, what we would consider now gender roles in the house. Back then, it was just how society worked, you know. But all of it sounded the same. Like the men were helping out with housework when they were home. You know, if both people had jobs, then both people did housework. If one of them worked and the other one didn't, then the one person did all the housework and the other one did the work. And like, it was very balanced even back then. This whole thing of like, oh, it was so great in the 60s and all of that. And it's not now. Like, again, I think it's more so you just don't see that as much. People aren't necessarily flaunting the good relationships or advertising it, because a lot of people in relationships a lot of times present themselves as being single still, and they've married and have whole husbands and whole wives in the background that they're happily married to. So, you know, we just have to keep everything in perspective, you know. So
I agree.
So yeah, you know, it's hard to find content, I think, though, that is nuanced and balanced. And that's why I wanted to talk to you specifically. You know, because like I said, a lot of it is so extreme, and it's on both sides, you know, from women saying, you know, all men are trash, or, you know, whatever, you know. And I always equate that to, because as a man, I always equate that to something else I can relate to, which is race. And I would never say all white people are trash. You know what I mean? Like, there are some white people I have problems with, but that's not because they're white. It's because of some action that they did that I don't like. You know what I mean? It has nothing to do with skin color. So I always keep it in that perspective. Like, lumping whole groups never helps the conversation. It's like, do you want to just be heard, or do you want to actually advance progress? Like, are you trying to progress, or do you just want to scream and be heard?
Exactly. And I don't like that victim mentality. Like, there's no way. This is why sometimes I can't relate to women. If you come across all these bad guys, they're all cheaters, they're all this, wouldn't you think at some point your vetting process is trash? Wouldn't you think at some point you're either too nice or you're letting these people cross your boundaries? Now, I'm not going to say it's your fault, because a lot of people don't have these type of skills to understand that. But I don't even think you should be in the dating game if you're saying everybody's trash. You probably need to pick better dudes. Stop worrying about the 6 foot, the 6 inch, all this crazy stuff. Why don't you pick somebody who's good for your heart and soul? I feel like a lot of people, men and women, y'all be seeing women with the biggest boobies in the whole world and going, you know what? I'm going to be with this girl, and she's the toxic person you've ever met. But you'll try to paint that as, you know what, it'll go over. It won't be like that no more. So I don't know. This generation, I feel like the victim mindset and constantly complaining, I'm a problem solver. At some point, you got to get over it and start looking at things for what they are. I don't think everybody in this world is bad and out to get you, and every guy you come across is bad. That's crazy to me.
Yeah, not only that, but I've just always been a firm believer of, you know, if you can't get along with anybody, or if everybody says the same thing about you, it's you. And it's probably, you know what I mean? So if you can't find anybody to like you or anybody to treat you right, like something about that is
you're the common denominator, literally.
Exactly. So this is a new one for me. This is something relatively that I just started hearing recently. I don't know if this has been a term for a long time, but pick me. Do you
Oh
ever
God.
get called a pick me, and what is your
All the time.
term? What's a pick me? Like what is a real pick me, and then how do they use it? Because I think it's two different.
Perfect. I like this question. Good eye, good eye. So for me, I think a pick me is the girl who's selling her OF. Because think about it. There's girls that are on social media. I can scroll on TikTok right now and see a girl shaking it, bouncing it, doing all these things for views. But men are weirdos. Men are creeps, right? Men are incels. They'll be telling, oh, guys, $5.99, subscribe to this, subscribe to that. They post it on all platforms. But then they call women who want to be wives pick-me's. They call women who defend men pick-me's. Women like me have brothers. Women like me have had brothers with unaliving thoughts, or even had my best friend offed himself. So the reason why I advocate for men was because of these type of things, to get people to understand men's mental health matters just as much as women. So you get called a pick-me in this generation for saying cook and clean for your man. And I'm just going to go on like a little rant. It makes me laugh that women say this, because if I tell you to cook and clean for a man, I get crucified. But there's women on these apps that will tell women, manipulate this man, do witchcraft, all that, like the sprinkle lady, and they'll run with that type of thing. You know why? Because it's easier to be a manipulative woman instead of actually putting the work to take care of somebody. It's harder to love and cook and clean and be there for him and cater to his needs. It's easy to manipulate somebody. It's easy to be a trash person. So to me, I think a real pick me is you OF women. I'm sorry. The only one begging for money and begging for guys to be on your thing and all that, that's OF women. And that's women now on these social media platforms, working out, shaking it and twerking and all that extra stuff. Like, you ain't got to do all that. It's too much now. That's a pick me.
I like it. I like it. Now, yeah, like, I mean, so I understand if every time a man says anything, even if he's wrong, if a woman's jumping to his defense just to be on his good side, I understand that. But like, men aren't always wrong. So I don't like it when just anytime a woman is pointing out something that a man says correct or whatever, then she's called a pick me. Like, I think that's ridiculous. And I feel like, again, it's more of that, you know, you just want to be heard. You don't necessarily want to solve the problem type of mentality. It's like, because you're just attacking people and you're completely, you know, leaving out the detail or leaving out the nuance of what they actually said. And I feel like people do that on purpose. You know what I mean? You know, whatever their agenda is. If their agenda is men are trash, then everything is going to be geared towards that, regardless of what the substance of the conversation is, you know? So
exactly. And I think like it's good too for women to be this type, like me, Pearl, and other content creators. I don't know if you've seen a lot of things that have been going on. A lot of men that talk about the same things I do. I've seen a guy have a TikTok. He got banned over talking about the Lizzo situation when she got sexual assault charges or whatever. It's like, dude, men can't even speak their mind, or you're canceled, you're a sicko, you're this, you're that. It's like, what? Women are saying the same things as men and not getting canceled. Jua Falu said that men should off themselves who go to concerts, and she gets the ick by men who go to concerts and are alone. She said they should off themselves. So I'm like, wait, what? I got my account taken down for defending that. So it's like, I feel like women in this space are needed because we can go head to head with these women, because you're in a man's world. You shouldn't be arguing with a man, but we can defend men. We're not men, but we can help defend you guys, because if not, you're going to be taken off these platforms quicker than anybody. And it's sad.
Yeah. And I mean, even if you're like careful with the way you say things, even if you don't directly say whatever it is, you may not be taken off the platform, but people will find, you know, it's the whole cancel culture thing.
Yep.
You know, people will twist your words. People will, you know, paint it in a way that you said something you didn't actually say, paint you as a misogynist or what have you, when you might just be pointing out like, hey, you said believe all women when men do this stuff, but now that a woman's doing it, you're like, we need the evidence. And it's like, why is that fair? Just bringing that question up probably is going to get some people to call me misogynistic or whatever. You know what I mean? So,
and that's so sad too. That's sad.
But that's the reality of it. That's the reality of it, you know? So, I mean, even if, you know, there's certain things that other YouTubers have said that, you know, I may not agree with or whatever, but I do still feel like the voices are important, because right now men can't really say these things for ourselves. You know, we kind of need y'all to speak for us right now, you know, when it comes to certain things. So again, it's definitely appreciated.
Thank you, man.
So my last question is just, what's your overall goal? You know, where are you trying to take this YouTube thing? You know, where are your other goals? I know you talked about you want to be a therapist. And do you have any like last message that you want to leave for both men and women?
Ooh. So my whole end goal with social media is obviously to get women to have a bigger heart and understanding. And since I'm trying to become a therapist, I want women to just understand I'm not coming from a hurtful place. I'm coming from a place of love, and I just want them, I might be harsh, but it's coming from a place of love. I was raised by men, so sorry if I give tough love. I just want them to have accountability. You know, some of us are wrong and some of us say things that we shouldn't. And a lot of the times, shifting the blame on people can cause people's mental health to go bad. Like all these men think that something's wrong with them because women can constantly blame. I've seen women cheat on men and then be the ones to cry and say it's your fault why I cheated, you see? So I just want women to redirect their mindset and get like a healthier understanding of relationship dynamic or just being a better human. So for me, man, I want to be able to like have my own men's mental health center later in the future that's funded by me. I want to be able to do like seminars like Jordan Peterson. I'd like to be maybe as big as Pearl one day and have like my own big podcast. And, you know, I want my podcast to be full of men. I want heavy hitter men on there that talk about things. Don't get me wrong. I have some women there, here and there, but I want to be able to help men. I want men to grow in this space and feel needed and wanted like back then. Because men now have been so belittled, it bothers me, you know? And I feel like men make up more of this world than anything. So I just want to be able to help the world, man. I know we can, it's going to take some time, but one step at a time. And my last message to men and women, stop degrading each other. For men and women, stop degrading each other. Learn the person you're trying to be with. It's not happy wife, happy life. It's happy couple, happy life, happy spouse, happy life. I feel like if you're going to date the opposite gender, you better be studying the person to the T, you know, give them a safe space to communicate and stop watching all these damn crazy podcasts of people that are yelling at each other. Learn to love women and learn to love men. We're put on this earth to love each other. Like get God in your life and get something in your life. Stop drinking and smoking, y'all. Get a better, clear mind of reality and touch some grass for real. That's my final message.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Well, once again, very much appreciated. Thank you very much for coming through. Check her out on live on YouTube. You know, she just kind of sporadically goes live. I don't know if there's a schedule.
I go live all the time.
Yeah, I just get notifications to the phone and and she's eating oatmeal on the live, telling everybody, yo, I got to do this other podcast. And so very much appreciated. Follow her. It's Tay Tay Baby on YouTube, on Instagram. Also, it's
Instagram, yeah.
All
Twitter,
right,
all that.
That's what it is. Follow her everywhere. You know what I mean? Get some good guidance. She's saying some good stuff out here, and like I said, she's fair and balanced. You know what I mean? So she's not coming from a place of hate, y'all. She's coming from a place of love. So till next time, this is Shane G. This is the Ethos Media Network. Y'all take care, and we'll catch you next time.